So this is a pretty common repair I have to do. Basically, this is from a Marvel Legends Spider-Man, and the bicep has twisted off, and you can see that the peg is inside here. So I'm going to show you today how to replace basically the peg utilizing a screw. And the first thing we need to start is we need to remove this peg so that way we can see what size screw we need, as we'll need pretty much the same size screw as this peg. So let's go ahead and get this out. So what we need to do is heat it up. I use a heat gun. If you don't have a heat gun, then you can use either a hair dryer, or you can heat up some hot water and then place this in the water. After you've heated it up, let it sit in there for a while. It will soften the plastic, and then you can remove the peg by using either a small flathead screwdriver like this, or my personal favorite tool is the good old punch. So this can just kind of dig around the side and pop it out. So let's get this baby out. And so it's been heated up now, and I was just going to show you how I usually get it out with a punch. Is I'll kind of go around the side after this has gotten soft. Usually you can get a piece of it, either stick it in there or there we go. It's usually not that hard, but I'm not going to be reusing this peg, so I don't really care if it gets mangled. But what I want to do is I want to get a good look here as to the size of the peg. So what I've got here is just I always have a whole deal of screws, and we want to find one that's really close to this size. And another good thing to look for is a rounded head. You don't want a squared head, or excuse me, a flat head. This looks pretty good. And if it's slightly bigger, that's actually, that'll be okay. It'll still fit in there. And this is pretty good. This is pretty much a perfect screw to use. Whenever I said flat, you don't want like a wood screw or whatnot, like something like this, because you want this to be where it connects to where this is where it pulls. And if you've got this extra area right here, it's just going to pull a little more loose, and you're going to end up with a loose joint. What you want is for the flat edge to be right here. So this is the point of pull, I guess. And that's where you're wanting to, basically this is going to stick in here, so you want that as tight as possible, so it'll bend. Okay, so what you got to do now is we're going to drill a hole in the arm here. And this is where a lot of problems can happen. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my Dremel. What I usually like to do is I'll take a piece of scratch plastic, or like fodder plastic. Like here I've got a little Mario figure, and it's kind of the same type of plastic, and I've already drilled a hole right here, as you can see. See if I can focus in for you. And then I like to basically test to see if the screw, will go in before I try this on the actual thing I'm going to be repairing. And you can see this is starting to go in even without a screwdriver. It's going in, and that's good. So that means this is the right size. So what we want to do is, and we don't want to go like all the way in here. We just want to get in, I don't know, a good, here's where a lot of people mess up. Okay, so you can see, looking from right here, if we're to drill here, if we were to go into this far, we'd hit our disc. This is where, like I said, a lot of people mess up. They put a screw in there and it locks into the disc, and then you can't move you just can't move it anymore. You will feel this thing hit. So what we want to do is drill in just a little bit. Yeah, and we've hit it now. You can feel it, and I'm going at a slow speed here because it's going to take more friction to basically dig into this hard plastic. Another thing I like to do is after I drill this hole, I like to take it and bend it down just in case I did go too far. So when we put the screw in, it's not going to dig into this. If we keep it lined up where we drilled and there is a hole in there, this screw is going to go all the way in and it's going to lock the joint. So now that we've got this, what we want to do is test the screw. Okay, I'm going to test this screw to see if it'll, and yeah, it's starting to go in. what you need to do is use your screwdriver. See how far this will go in. You know, we don't have a lot of clearance here. That's about it. There's like maybe 3 to 4 turns max. So what we need is for this to be about the same size, same length as this peg. And as you can see, it's not very far. So yeah, we're looking at maybe less than 1/4 inch. So that's what we want. And if you're a little shorter, just a little shorter, it's gonna be okay. It should pop back in. The problem we have right now is, well, our screw's too long. So what I always do is I take some bolt cutters, like so, and we're gonna want to cut about, we're gonna wanna cut just a little to where we can put these threads in. And this is kind of where your measurements come into. Another thing that I like to do is whenever I'm cutting something like this, I like to take a plastic bag and I will cut inside the plastic bag like so, just in case. So there we go, we got a cut in there. Sometimes that'll cut and that thing will go flying and you can lose it, and you know, maybe you've only got one screw like this and you've lost it. So now we've got our screw cut. Now what can happen here after you cut your screw is you can end up with something like this kind of, it's like a snaggle tooth, pretty bad. And what you're gonna wanna do is, if this happens, you wanna take your Dremel, get a sanding bit, which I'm gonna attach right now. Sanding bit like so. And I love this little head right here for Dremel products. It's basically, you can see, is like a kind of a catch-all. It'll put any kind of size in there, so that's really nice. So now what we wanna do is you hold this screw via some needle nose pliers, because this will get hot if you heat it up too long. And we want to Dremel it down just a little bit. You kind of want to make it flat. Just get rid of that sharp piece. Won't take much. You can see here. I'll set it down. Get it to focus in. All right. Cool. So here we have our screw. Now, once again, before we add super glue to this thing to keep it permanent, we're gonna want to try it first. Always try it first. Nobody's gonna get mad at you for taking your time, and if they do, then they need to learn some patience. God knows I have. Here we go. We've screwed it in pretty good here. What we wanna do is take our original peg, and let's see. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty dang even. I might go in a little bit more just because you never know. You know, that's looking pretty dang good. Okay, so what we do now, we unscrew it. And I only use Loctite super glue. If you've got another suggestion, please leave it in the comments. This is the only brand I trust. You can find it at Walmart in the craft section, or even at checkout sometimes. However, I do not suggest buying their bigger bottle. I suggest just this regular 0.18 ounce, 5 gram, regular liquid bottle. The big ones tend to kind of get, you know, whenever it hardens up at the top and then it closes off, and then it's a whole problem. So next, what we want to do, let me focus this in for you. All right, we want to take some super glue. And you don't really want to put it on the tip. You kind of want to put it around the edge like this. That's pretty good. Just a little dab. Take our figure. Try not to let you guys see it. Since we tested it earlier, we know it's going to go in. All right, and now we've got our peg. So what we want to do right now is let the glue dry. So while this dries, you know, just give it a, I don't know, go do something, go play a video game, go repair something else, go pose a figure, take a photo of him, you know. Basically what we're doing here is we don't want this glue to still be wet when we attach this, because if it's still wet, then it could lock and you might end up taking the screw out. The reason why I lace it in super glue is so whenever we do pull it, it doesn't come out. My client has actually asked me to replace this arm as well, because obviously this one broke, so this one might. So I'm actually gonna do that as well. And once this is dry, we will put the arm back on. Basically, all you'll have to do is reheat this and pop it on. That glue is dried, and these have been heated up. Give it a little pop on here. This client wanted his biceps really tight, so. All right, there you go. Oh yeah, these are great. And that's how you do the screw trick, as it's always been called. I'm sure there's other videos out there showcasing this, but I wanted to just show you my personal technique. Also, my services are available for generally pretty criminally small fees. If you want, hit me up on my Instagram at BillMaruToychanics or my Facebook like page, or you can even go to my website at www.billmaru.com. You guys have a great day. Keep repairing.
Bill Maru, Toychanics.